It's Mahia May.
Most people overprocess their drums and boom bap. The texture is already there. You just have to listen to the details. It's your boy Mahia Made, and in this video, I'll show you how to get your drums to knock without overprocessing using both paid and stock plugins. All right, you guys, so we're gonna first start off by A-Bing both the paid and stock plugins. So let's first start off with the paid plugins. And now with the stock plugins. So typically what I found sounds best for processing boom bap while keeping the plugins minimal is these three types of plugins: compression, saturation, and distortion. I found that those three plugins is all you need to get a really good drum texture. So let's go ahead and start digging in to each plugin that I use, starting off with the paid plugins. So first off, what we have is this G Master Bus Compressor by Waves. Typically, the way I like to use compression is by using it as a glue to hold everything together. The way I do that in FL Studio is by routing each one of these channels into just one bus channel. That way they all get processed the same. So for these G Master Bus Compressor, I put the attack at the highest setting and then the release at the fastest setting. The ratio, I like to put 4:1. I typically move the threshold until I get about 2 to 3 decibels of compression. And that brings me to today's quick tip, which is so that you know exactly how a plugin is affecting your sound. What you want to do is start the effect off at 100% and then begin to dial that back down until you get something that is appropriate for the type of beat you're making. Let's get back into the breakdown. When you're compressing your drums, it's really easy to get a pumping type of effect. So you want to be very mindful of your threshold. So I can show you what I mean by that. Let's go ahead and turn up the threshold to see what it sounds like. So as you guys can see, doing too much compression completely ruins everything about the drums. The next plugin I use is this J37 by Waves once again. For this instance, I'm using the J37 mainly as a saturation for my drums. What I like to do is start at the full reset preset. So for these drum loops, what I did is put the formula at 815, speed at 7.5, and the non-bias. Let's go ahead and toggle through the different settings just so we can hear how they affect the drums. The next thing we have in the chain is this RC20 retro color. I once again put it at the initialized preset, meaning I start completely from scratch. The only thing I decided to turn on in this instance was this distort setting. For this one, I put it at 20%. I was scrolling through the different types and I found that the crunch type was the best for this drum loop, which is another tip for you guys. There's no exact preset or setting that is universal. It all depends on the type of drums that you have. What you want to do is get to the point where you listen to your original source, which in this case is the drums. Listen to what's already there. Listen to the texture that's there. And then every plugin that you use, what you want to do is use it as a tool to enhance what's already in your drums. That way, you know exactly when to stop adding certain plugins, therefore preventing you from overprocessing your drums. So now that we have our compressor gluing everything together, our saturation giving the drums just a little bit more knock, and the RC20 adding just a little bit of distortion, aka grit, into the drums, let's go ahead and turn off the plugins and listen to what the drums originally sound like. And with the plugins turned on, as you guys can tell though, with the plugins turned on, not only do they knock a lot more, but they just sound a lot more held together due to that compression. So now that we got our paid plugins out the way, let's go ahead and start diving into the stock plugins. So the first plugin in line is this Fruity compressor. For this compressor, I match the exact settings as I use in the G Master Bus Compressor by Waves. So to me personally, I really like this vintage type because I felt that it gave me the same type of compression that G Master Bus Compressor gave me. I don't want you guys to think that paid plugins are a lot better than stock plugins. What really matters and what really helped me in learning how to use these different types of plugins is learning the fundamentals of what each plugin is supposed to do. The next plugin we're going to dive into is what you can consider Fruity Loops Saturator, is the soft clipper over here. And yes, I know the soft clipper isn't a saturation plugin, but for a stock plugin, it's the closest thing I can get to that soft crunch that you can get from a saturation plugin. For this soft clipper, it's super simple. It only has two buttons, the threshold and the post gain knob. For this plugin, I was tweaking around the threshold knob just till I got what it felt like it was the right type of knock for this drum loop. Let's go ahead and turn it all the way back down just to listen to what this effect is doing. The more I turn this threshold up, the more it starts to give more of that knock to that bottom end of the drums. And then finally, we're gonna end it off with this fruity fast distortion. I'm using this as a substitute to what I used in the played plugins, which was that RC20 retro color. Let's go ahead and tweak that pre knob just so we can hear what that distortion is doing. And now let's go ahead and do the same with the threshold. So we can hear it a lot with the threshold. As soon as I start to boost it up past 50%, the drums just get way too distorted. What you want to do is get the settings right until it sounds good for the type of beat you're making. What do I mean by that? If you're making a hard, gritty boom bap beat, let's say like if it was for Griselda, you might want a little bit more of that distortion. Now let's go ahead and turn off all the plugins and listen to what the drums sound like without them turned on. So before and after. Now you guys can really see how that kick just hits you in the face. It gave it that extra knock that I needed from each of these plugins. I don't want you guys to think that you need to invest money into getting paid plugins, especially if you're just starting off. As you guys can now see, you can still get your drums to knock while keeping your processing simple. And since we're on the topic of simple, I actually made a full video showing you how keeping your drums simple can make your samples really cut through. Just click the link at the top of this video. If y'all gained any type of insight from this video, please leave a like, please leave a comment. It's really gonna help the channel grow. With that being said, I'm gonna catch y'all next week for a new video. Until then, stay blessed.